Welcome to That's the Word, wholesome tales for the whole family. I'm Father James Yamauchi. Today's story, The Executive Dance. Betty's town was aglow with excitement. While it was normal for families in Betty's circle to have several social engagements in a single week, the past days were filled with events like none other. The teenager found herself involved in the biggest celebration ever witnessed in her town. But what had captivated her imagination was the extravagant ball that was closing the celebrations. As the chefs poured in with delicious foods, filling the air with a heavenly aroma, the young socialite took everything in. The musicians arranging their seats and instruments, the butler at the entrance reviewing the invitation list as each guest arrived, the amazing floral decorations that seemed to dance as people hastily passed by without pausing to marvel at these beautiful creations. The setting sun gave way to a beautiful spring evening as food and drinks were distributed, along with the complex social and political conversations echoed throughout the building. But none of this interested Betty. She enjoyed being on the ballroom floor, dancing. She and the guests were delighted when the guest of honor performed a dance. Betty knew the gentleman well. He was tall and muscular, with broad shoulders and blue-gray eyes beneath a heavy brow. His face showed that he was a man burdened with great responsibility, but who delighted in this respite opportunity to enjoy a dance. He was known for his grace and energy as a dancer. All eyes were on him as he effortlessly kept pace with each note that flowed from the musician's instruments. Betty thought of what it would be like to be the dance partner of such an important man, as the dance ended with cheers. Some years later, as a young married woman, Betty and her husband would co-host a birthday party for the man who had been her town's guest of honor, and Betty herself had the opportunity to be his dance partner. As she placed her hand in his large hand, all eyes were on them as they glided around the room in the presence of many distinguished guests. When the music ended, the gentleman graciously complimented Betty's skill and marveled how dancing was so agreeable and innocent in amusement. Both Betty and the man who was the guest of honor are remembered for firsts for their country. The gentleman had already left his mark, but Betty's mark on history was something neither she nor the gentleman could possibly foresee. Betty would go on as a young wife and mother of 5, to lose her husband to disease, and experience a profound religious conversion that would cost her dearly. Betty and her children would become exiles from the familiar social life of her hometown. The hardships she faced would strengthen her for her life's work, promoting the education of children and founding schools for the church in her homeland. It is truly fitting that in the spring of 1789, in her hometown of New York, Betty attended the inaugural ball, and in 1797, had the distinction to dance with the guest of honor at his 65th birthday party. America's first native-born saint, dancing with America's first president, St. Elizabeth Ann Seton, with President George Washington. And for this week, that's the word. In doing research, it was fascinating to learn that she truly was in an elite social circle. She knew George Washington and Martha Washington, And she was neighbors with Alexander Hamilton, who, of course, was the first Secretary of the Treasury of the United States. And her dad was a very prominent doctor in New York. And it just highlights the cost that she had in embracing Catholicism after the death of her husband and leaving everything that she knew to be a founder, basically, of parochial schools in America and our nation's first native-born saint. I am excited that we're releasing this story days before the birthday of George Washington, which is always on February 22nd, because that's when he was born. Start that over.
No, we're gonna leave that in.